Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing with the new Holtz Foundry wax to create a background. So I'm starting off with this collage matrix that I've made. This is one I made a long time ago, but you can see the shine in the background of the gold, which was me playing around with the Foundry wax. And I decided I wanted to make a little doll to put onto a collage. So I'm just gluing on one of the portrait dolls, or portrait heads, onto my background to create a really simple doll. Because it's got quite a harsh edge of where it's glued down onto the page, I decided to put a little bit of washi on just to sort of tie it together. So I've got some of these really thin Holtz tapes that I was going to use, or washies. You can see I sort of had a Holtz buy-up day, so I've got some of his new ideology, the little flashcards there, and the Foundry wax. So now I am using some of my new embossing powder as well. Told you I was using all my new stuff. So I used some embossing ink pen to draw onto the area I wanted to colour, and then I'm using the embossing glazes and just tapping off the excess so that I can get the colour where I want it to be. So I've decided I wanted to colour in the flowers on the bodice of my doll. You'll notice when the heat changes that it goes shiny, and it gives a translucent colour over the top of your piece of work, which is really cool. So I've got this little page from my journal that I decided I was going to use as a bit of a guide of what I was going to do next. So the Foundry wax is what I'm using now. It's a funny thing. It's not what I necessarily call a wax. I think it's also described sort of more as a leafing liquid, I suppose. Basically what happens with it is when you take it out of the bottle, it's quite wet, and you need to work it around. So you notice I'm working it around with my brush a little bit, and it gets a little bit thicker. Then you just paint it on. So you can use your finger to do this, you can use a paintbrush. It dries quite quickly, so the reason that you need to, I'm only putting out a little bit at a time, is because it actually dries quite quickly. And you'll notice me brushing my brush off onto the paper towel on the side there. When I do that, it basically turns into a powder, so it actually cleans off your brush really easily, wipes off your finger really easily. It sort of acts a bit like a wax in that way. So when you're using it, put a little bit out at a time. You need to shake the bottles as you're using it. You need to mix it around a little bit just to start the thickening process. That helps, I suppose, the leafing agents in it come to the surface as well. So in this case, I am using a paintbrush to apply it. In the doll that you saw in the background, the gold pieces in that, which you'll see in the close-up, I have also used a paintbrush to just do some mark making, applying the Foundry wax as well. Now, I do like using wax. I do like metallics, you know. Obviously, you could do this with metallic paint. You could do the same with the other metallic paints. It's just a different product to play with. For anyone who's been doing this for a little while and remembers the old Krylon pens, I used to love those. They're a gold leafing pen, and this product reminds me a lot of the colours and the shine that you used to get from the Krylon leafing pens. When you first put it on, it looks good, it looks metallic as you put it on, but the magic comes from it when you actually heat it up at the end. So I'm just putting all the paint on, or the wax on first, and then I'm actually going to heat it up, and you will see the shine come back through when you do that. So I'm not sure if it will come up on screen. Yeah, it's starting to there. You can sort of see the colour changing. So if you look at the top, there you go. You can sort of see how it changes as you heat it. So it is a little bit patchy, and that's just because the way I was applying it, where the wax is a little bit thicker, obviously you've got more leafing agent in it, so that's where you get the really shiny bits. Where the pen was starting to dry out a little bit, or sorry, the wax was drying out on my brush a little bit. It's a little bit thinner, so you don't get quite as much shine. It's still shiny in the long run when you have a look at it, but there's some patches that are much shinier than others. Just to get a little bit of that pattern back in, I'm going back in with my Posca paint pens and drawing over the top. Now the great thing about this stuff is once it's dry, it is permanent. It's not going to shift again. And you can paint and draw over the top of it, which I really like, because that's one of the drawbacks from waxes, is that it doesn't give you that ability, because it's sort of a waxy, obviously creamy type product. You can't put many things over the top of it. So as I was doing this, obviously I was just playing with my new stuff, and this is how I swatch my pages, I suppose. If I have got new things, I just play with them and see if it works or if it doesn't work. So on this page, you know, I think I've got all this stuff from Natalie May. Shout out to Natalie. I got my wax. I got my little tapes here that I'm going to put the edge on. I got my chipboard flashcards. I got the embossing glaze and the portrait things. So, you know, how do I put them all on one page? Well, I make a page like this. And this is all about playing. So that's where my quote is going to come from with this. And it's something I really believe in. Probably comes from my teaching background, I suppose. But for me personally, I find the best way for me to know how a product works and how to use it, how to iron out all the bumps with it, is just to get it out and play with it. And if it's a disaster, it's a disaster, and if it's not, well, I've done something that I've quite liked. So I would really encourage you just to play with your products, play with your art, play with the things in front of you to see how it all works. That even comes down to when I'm cleaning up my space, which doesn't happen as often as it should do, but quite often when I'm cleaning up, I'll come to, you know, a pile of stuff that I may not have used in a while or have been hidden down the back of somewhere, and pulling it out, putting it in front of me and going, right, do something with this. Giving myself the challenge of, you know, doing something with what's got in front of me lets me work out all the kinks. So to put my quote on, you saw me write it out first with the thinner marker. Then I went in and just extended out the tops and bottoms, and now I'm going in and putting my shadow on, just using a white pen. And as you can see, if I'd done this over a normal wax, creamy wax based, trying to write over it, particularly with a thin pen like this one I'm using at the moment, I'd actually be scraping up the wax and it would be making my pen stop. So the fact that I can do this really easily just after I've heat set it makes it a really, really useful thing for me. So this is a close-up. You can't see the shine in this, unfortunately, but it is very, very metallic. You can sort of see it in the background of my collage matrix, and you can see how all the other bits and pieces play together. So yes, I would encourage you to, if you haven't had a go at Foundry wax, have a go with it. It's lots of fun. Now, I found it really useful. I really love the fact that I can just use it as a normal sort of wax-based thing, but I can also paint with it and make with it. But yeah, hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching. Until next time, bye for now.